Kim, we just got the quarterly refunding from the Treasury, up $4 billion to $66 billion, much of that on the long end. I want viewers to have a quick look inside our terminal at chart 1166. It's total Treasury debt outstanding. What happens here if the president wants a $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan now as opposed to $1 trillion, and the country is dealing with a major tax regime change?
It's a good point, Bonnie. I think Congress, Washington in particular, will have to deal with fiscal policy, the debt that's been created, the debt they inherited, and how they're going to manage that debt going forward before you get any visibility on large spending programs. I just don't think that it's realistic to expect them to embark on more debt financing until they digest the debt that's been created in the last 2 years in particular, but over the last 10 years as well.
So what happens then on February 8th? I mean, do we just get another continuing resolution? Do we get another shutdown?
February 8th will be, I think, again, a precursor of what's going to happen for the rest of the year. I'm not sure that either party thinks that they did well in the shutdown. The president claims that he did well, but, you know, polling data don't necessarily suggest that, at least not on a long-term basis. It's not good for Washington to shut the government down for reasons that Americans don't understand. And when you have buoyant markets and a relatively strong economy, it's very hard to justify doing business in Washington via shutdown. I don't expect another shutdown.
Kim, Trump stayed away from inflammatory language on trade. It comes just days after he tried to put forward this notion of his America First agenda coexisting with globalization. Can the two coexist? They can, Mark. I think it's entirely explainable for a head of state to want reciprocal and fair trade. That phrase in and of itself shouldn't upset anyone. And to the degree that the administration is willing to work with Congress on a bipartisan basis to push through policies that achieve that objective, I think it'd be great. My sense on trade, though, is that both domestic and international constraints on unilateral action will continue to hem in the parameters of what we got to expect around trade. At the end of the speech, I was telling people that I think, frankly, if you were concerned about a bombastic trade policy coming from the Trump administration, those risks have gone down in the last month, including last night. And Kim, I mean, last week was also notable for the comments from first Steve Mnuchin, then Donald Trump on the dollar. What is the government's position on the dollar right now? As stated by the president, it's a preference for a strong dollar. It's often that administrations, particularly new to Washington, go through the learning process of how and when to speak about the dollar, and usually it's not much and not often. I think they've inculcated that at the Trump administration. I would be surprised if you have the Treasury Secretary as far out on currency as he was at Davos.